different for us, son. We've done so many things together, and this is a first.
This is a first.
For you to interview me, and I'm sincerely looking forward to this conversation.
Me too.
Good.
And with that, hello, welcome. My name is Aaron Baker, and this is the off-road column in AwareNow magazine. And today I am thrilled to welcome my first guest, my mother, Laquita Dian. Well,
Wow.
Today we're going to be talking specifically about her new book, Rise Together, that officially launched last night, April 8th, 2024. And it's been a long, hard road to get here and to finally have it in written form. This is a work of love. It's vulnerable, it's courageous, it's all the feels. I know them well. It is the prequel story to my book that was published last year called The Rebellious Recovery, Transforming Your Adversity into Adventure. And Rise Together is the art of climbing out of the ditch. I think what I'd love to do, Toots. It's the nickname I call my mom, Toots. There's a story when I was a little boy. I was trying to avoid some trouble, and I was trying to, I don't know, be cute or something, and I blurted out the word Toots, and that moniker has stuck ever since.
And it did, by the way, completely diffuse whatever trouble he was getting into. And I think that may have been why it stuck.
Well, now everybody calls you Toots. Well, at least the family.
Yes, and now my 11-year-old grandson, James, who this is his idol, James is now calling me Toots. It's a rare day that he calls me Nani, as he originally named me. So I've got my son and now my oldest grandson calling me Toots.
All right, well, Toots, how about we start with, I will read the back of this book because this description really brings the reader into this world, your world, our world. So it goes. In a roadside ditch, Laquita Dian was face to face with no one but herself and the dirt. She was demoralized, dehydrated, and dry heaving due to a 3-day alcohol binge. The gravity of her situation was crushing. She had just been released from jail after an arrest for drunk driving. Her son was facing a life-altering spinal cord injury. Her daughter was slipping into the grip of self-destruction. In her darkest moment, an act of kindness from a stranger sparked a realization that would change everything. We rise by lifting others. Rise Together documents Laquita's artful embrace of her role as a caregiver. Through vivid storytelling and raw honesty, she shares her colorful journey from the depths of despair to profound purpose, healing, and self-discovery. Led by a clear why, her love for her children, they discovered how to transform their adversities into a driving force of self-improvement and profound purpose. A true alchemy of me to we. This isn't just a saga of struggle. It's a story of hope, full of practical and actionable insights based on decades of hands-on experience with trauma recovery. Laquita's spirit is a lit candle for anyone who finds themselves trapped in the darkness of adversity. Her odyssey shows us that no matter how dire our circumstances may seem, there is always a path forward. Are you ready to rise together? That encapsulates the essence of your story, and hopefully it is as it said, a candle in a dark place for someone else.
That's what I hope.
Well, Toots, you've always been that candle for me. I've said that, I always will. You've been the beacon, the rock, the bedrock, upon which my life has been rebuilt and redefined. I shared that in the Rebellious Recovery, and I speak about that fondly and proudly each and every day. We are better together.
Mhm.
And so with that, I'd love to dive into a little Q&A.
Okay, can I just respond to what you said in terms of my support for you and how that... I wrote about it in the book that I truly don't believe in anyone deserving anything. But in this case, when you were so horrifically injured, you did deserve every opportunity to just get better. We didn't know what that looked like, what that meant, but I just was committed to giving you that opportunity, because if I hadn't, Aaron, you wouldn't have been able on your own, and that was my driving force. So in my helping you, that was the best way to help me, and that's how we rose together.
Well, I'm a father now, and so I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't for a lot of years. For a long time, I felt I was angry and frustrated. I felt like a burden. I felt hopeless without a future. You were the only reason I remained here.
I know that too. And you have to know that you were the reason I did as well. We're very intertwined like that. But that is the magical love that you only understand when you do have your own child. And you understood that the moment Kayla May was placed in your arms.
Yeah,
You told me that shortly after she was born. Your first words to me, I understand now, Toots.
Well, I mean, we could just end there and let you guys read the book. And I mean, this is so layered, so multidimensional.
It is.
This could be a very long conversation.
It is, with both of us crying and then laughing, and we do all of it.
Yeah. Maybe let's just start with the book writing process. Like,
oh, wow.
I know for myself, that was really challenging to relive a lot of that, to go back and flesh out those emotions, those feelings, those hard times, and the good times, but to put it to pen, put your pen to paper.
Mm-hmm.
How was that process for you?
Well, it actually took me a good 7 years after I made the declaration that I was going to write it. Remember, I went to a couple of writing retreats, and I made the statement, I'm ready to write. That was in 2018. And so I tried to write, and I couldn't do it. I wasn't in the place. I had to find my safe place in order to relive it in the way that comes across as real, authentic, not just, kind of going through the surface.
Yeah.
And so when I did find the place 2 years ago, I started one day and I didn't stop. And yet, it still took me 15 different drafts after I had said it was done. 15 more runs at it, because I kept going a little deeper. And in the end, it was absolutely cathartic, and in ways that I had no idea that it would be. Last summer, I was getting some feedback from individuals, and I got some feedback that I wasn't ready for. And I decided, I'm putting this on the shelf. I'm not writing this book. Yeah. I can't do that. I can't expose my heart and then expose myself to criticism. And so I worked my way out of that, and I realized that criticism was a gift. It was a gift for me to even make it that much better, to be okay with showing it all. Yeah. I can't just show the highlights. We had done that all throughout our 24 years of recovery process. We've ridden across the country twice. We've been in marathons. You crossed Death Valley, but we never lifted the curtain. Yeah. And I decided one day that I'm not interested in snapshots from the mountaintop. I want to see the climb. And that's when I got really, really real with myself. And then I was ready to share it, put it down, expose it, and I found pride. I found pride in it.
Pride and liberation. I'm sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I will also say, Aaron, you made my task, in ways it's kind of another flip. We've done this several times in our recovery journey. But on this one, you laid the story out with rebellious recovery. So I followed you and just gave my voice in your story. So you really did set a really nice road for me in that respect.
Well, that's our dynamic, isn't it?
It
that's
is.
how we've always
It
been.
is.
I'm thrilled that we're going to offer these two books as a set,
Yes,
because they really should be read together.
absolutely.
It doesn't matter which one first, but the voices, our perspectives definitely complement each other. And hope that these books find it into the hands and hearts and minds of those that need it most.
That's, I'm committed now to doing everything I can to make sure that Rise Together and the Rebellious Recovery and our work is exposed. How it lands, I have hopes for that, because I will also tell you that what I realized as I was writing, as writers, you were probably told this as well, you're always encouraged to write to someone. Have someone in your mind that you're writing to, so that it gives it more depth, it makes it more alive.
More meaning, too.
Yes. And I had someone in mind for a minute, and then all of a sudden I went back to this vision of this young, lost, and frantic, frankly, young mother in a hospital library late at night, searching the shelves, looking for anything that could help me. And that mother was me. And so I wrote the story for me, knowing what I needed, what I would have resonated with in the early days, and then all along the way to stay the course, stay in the game. But I wrote it for everyone else, but to myself.
That's powerful. I can relate to serving yourself in a way that allows you the clarity, composure, and vitality to serve others.
It is really a exquisite understanding when you can find yourself. I always call it being right in the middle of the line. It's that, like the eye of the storm, where it's quiet. Everything is crazy chaotic around you, but when you're in that eye of the storm, you have full understanding, composure, and you know what to do. Selflessness has the same effect for me. I discovered I was always taken aback, and I didn't care to hear people talking about how noble I was. What a selfless thing to do. And I found myself saying, this selflessness thing that you're talking about, it's as selfish as can be, because it has as much effect on me as it ever does Aaron. So I have written about that aspect of how true selflessness is every bit as self-serving as anything you can do for yourself.
This book is loaded. There are many take-home messages. There's a lot for somebody to really find themselves in.
Well, I found in many areas, because it is our story, and I found that in certain areas of it, I wanted an offering. And so I wrote up, and this was your idea too. You said, well, Toots, what if you do some candlelight thoughts? You said to me one day, ding ding, candlelight thoughts, exactly. And so I've written 13, I call them now candlelight offerings, because it's with a little graphic, we use some line art graphic, and it's a open hand with a little burning candle. So that's where they evolved into candlelight offerings. But these offerings I'm reading them now myself at different times. And I'm really proud of those. They're really beautiful, and I think, again, how they're going to be received is up to every individual. But that is the component of the insights that, yes, you'll find a little bit of everything in here.
Well, I think that's what we're both intending with our work, is giving people these little mental cues, these offerings.
Mm-hmm.
In my case, they're mind seeds.
Yes.
Planting these in a person's heart or mind,
Mm-hmm.
so that they're reminders for them when they're in the dark or
Mm-hmm.
in the midst of trauma or suffering or pain or what have you. We really hope that this work helps somebody. I've found the greatest purpose, and I know you have too,
Yes, I have. in
serving others.
Yes, I have. And it is a beautiful, beautiful reminder of our shared humanity.
Mm.
And especially when you have no attachment to how it may be received, you just hope that it is in the way that a person needs it. That and see that again, the cyclical, circular, energetic of that is if it helps someone else in their way, that too helps me.
Exactly.
See, it's selflessness to selfish. It is when it's pure. That's the exchange.
Yeah, it's cyclical.
Mm-hmm.
I say that all the time. Inspiration, motivation, it's cyclical. We are mirrors for each other.
Absolutely.
Well, again, you and I can talk on this stuff all day. Maybe we should address some of the questions that have been asked from both of us, specific to this book. Maybe we should address a recent question. I've got a whole list of questions right here, but we don't need to go too deep. How about this question here? What were the initial challenges and emotions you faced when you decided to become a full-time caregiver to me? Because I know it was a moment, but I think I already know that answer because I'm a father now, and it's not even a decision. It's just
Well, it's not. It's just what you do.
It's just what you do. That's just what I
And
would do.
that's always an interesting question, and I do get that often.
Yeah.
Because for many people, it is it's one of the most difficult decisions they can make because it involves sacrifice. And what do I mean by sacrifice? It changes your way of life. It can even change your home. You know, I went from an 80-acre ranch to a 2-bedroom apartment.
Well, to a hospital room for 6 months.
Right.
Yeah, you live
So,
with me.
but you make those necessary adjustments if you make that decision and you're responding to what life has asked you to do, and then you're responding to how your heart must go forward. And for me, there was no thing in the world that was more important than you. You were more important than anything. And so I call it my love for you held more importance than anything. So it was easy for me to say, what am I going to do with an 80-acre ranch? Sell it. I can get it again someday. You know, and I really just started making decisions that supported what I knew we needed to do, because I was committed for both of us to not stay in the ditch that we were in, for you to be immobile and for me to be just brokenhearted. It wasn't okay.
You see, how lucky am I? You know, to have this kind of fierce, unconditional, devoted love. Gratitude fills me. It is my mantra. Every day I am grateful for the love and support and friendship and guidance and all the gifts that have been bestowed from you onto me and our family.
Aaron, I also have to say, you wanted to work. You brought your heart nearly all the time. Of course, not 100%. You had your times. But You know, there is a difference when someone so passionately wants to do what's necessary. Now, if I had to drag you every day, you know, there comes a point where you have to change your strategy there. But as long as you had something to work on and for you, that's what you wanted. That was what healed you. That was your medicine. And so, you know, it's a really powerful thing when you realize that this body of yours, of mine, can be so instrumental in helping someone else. It gives me, it's like a duality, like all of a sudden I'm bigger than just me. And that's a driving force, I think, when people can connect with that aspect of serving. And yes, you're my son, I'm going to do anything, but I think in an overarching situation, when the person giving the care realizes the invaluable nature of their ability assisting somebody else, man, that's like, makes you feel good. So we did, again, I will always say, I'm as grateful for you, because I'll tell you right now, I'm not sure I would have gotten out of that ditch, or if I wouldn't have landed in there again. I was not healthy at that time. I was not. So, you know, we just did what our hearts needed to do. And so.
Well, I say this often. I'm truly grateful to the adversity, to the injury itself. I wouldn't change a thing. As hard as it is, as hard as it was, and it still is today, living with this condition, it has activated us on the most beautiful level of life. It really keeps us grounded into what's most important.
What's important.
It has allowed us to really cultivate the most beautiful aspects of our relationship, of being human. Right? And so it was only through this injury that you and I both have come to realize ourselves in this way.
Absolutely.
So.
I think that maybe there are chosen few that can learn and just kind of intuitively get to these places. But I truly believe with all my heart, for most of us, it takes this kind of hard firewalk that burns every part of you for a long time for you to actually get to that point, because our world isn't designed to teach us that.
No.
We're taught many different things and explanations of success, and it doesn't look anything like this. So, and all of that stuff has to go away, you know, to uncover these true essences. And so for that, I'm grateful. I will never be okay with a lot of the suffering that you do and have to bear. And that's me, and that's it. And I will forever hope that science or something comes up with, not a cure, I don't believe in a cure, but something that would just help with some of the stuff you deal with. And that too is our work.
Well,
you do, you're right on the forefront there, son.
Well, we do work really hard on behalf of neurological research,
Yes,
and
you
being
do.
a part of a bigger picture, a solution to resolve spinal cord injury once and for all. We don't know when that's coming, but we know that if we don't do it, who will? So
That's exactly right. And
I think
No,
sorry,
go ahead.
I just think we kind of answered the other question about how did your relationship with your son evolve throughout
Oh,
the
goodness.
recovery process. I think we kind of touched on that. But if you want to elaborate any on that?
Well, it was interesting because I did see a shift when we started riding the bike. And you know, I was always hyper aware, and I did this by really being in attunement, I call it. Attunement with you. Attunement in trying to feel as best I could what it would feel like to be you. And being a 20-year-old, you know, strapping guy that had just found your wings and out racing motorcycles and winning championships, to being like a newborn infant again. So I kept that. That stayed with me with everything I did for you. And yet that was still a mother-son dynamic, and I could appreciate that you hated every aspect of it. I mean,
It has aspects. Definitely aspects.
Yeah, but in terms of the care.
Well, the care, it was our choice. I
Yes.
didn't want to have anybody else.
But you didn't want to have care, period. So with that, it was when we started riding the tandem bicycle.
Well, we've got to give some context.
Okay.
Because those that are watching and listening,
Yes.
a tandem bicycle built for two, became a reality during our rehabilitation process. My body was responding, my legs were beginning to move, I was doing a lot of electrical stimulation, cycling, pedaling in rehabilitation. And one day we saw a tandem bicycle and had the idea that I could be strapped onto the back of it and you would be able to pedal and control the front. And together we could go get some wind in our hair, express all this hard work that we had been grinding for so many years at that point in the gym. So the tandem bicycle was just an evolution of the rehabilitation process.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. And I call the tandem bicycle my ultimate professor. I learned so much. We both did.
Yeah.
But in terms of the evolution of our relationship, it began on that bike, because then we just started aligning to be teammates rather than just mother-son.
Yeah.
So we evolved over that mother-son, which gave us more equality. And at that time, I was not a cyclist. I was overweight by about 40 pounds when we started riding.
Yeah.
And I'm small, 5'5". That's 40 pounds was a lot. And you obviously were spinal cord injured and working with a paralyzed body. So I felt, although very different, we still had our disabilities, if you will. Our challenges.
Yeah.
And so it was in that process we both were rebuilding. And that's when we started merging into the team. And it changed our dynamic to be more than mother-son. We became more equalized. And then we really went up another level.
It began with only 5 minutes.
Yes.
And then we progressed to slowly, after months of attempts, to 5 miles, to 10 miles, to then participating in the LA Marathon, which is 26.2. We did that multiple times. And then we ended up riding it across the country. In 2007, with some of our closest friends, we all embarked on a tour we dubbed the Rise Above Tour, promoting the power of possibility. We rode the tandem bicycle from San Diego, California, 3,182 miles to St. Augustine, Florida, sharing our story, speaking with and connecting to other individuals and their families that have undergone similar circumstances. We ended up doing it again the following year.
Yes, we did.
And we continued the progression where rather than me sitting behind you on a tandem bike, I progressed to my own 3-wheeled tricycle, of which I could pedal under my own power. And instead of riding behind, I got to ride alongside you as we crossed the country again from San Francisco, 4,202 miles to Washington, D.C. Again, promoting our message. We were intending a dream to open our own rehabilitation facility. We had called this facility CORE, the Center of Restorative Exercise. It was our way of creating meaning and purpose out of this trauma. We knew that we needed that type of facility for the quality of our lives, and we were validating it on that bicycle tour that so many others needed it as well. And so I know that we're speeding up this timeline, but on the return of that cross-country tour, the second tour, we ended up manifesting that dream. And we opened our gym, our facility, January 1st, 2011. a very auspicious day, 1/1/11. And that was, well, it was full of tears, pride, and joy, and hard work. And
All of it.
finally, we got to open the door, literally, to a safe space where others could come through the doors and be welcomed into a loving, possible environment to change their outcomes, like we were.
Mm-hmm.
And I know how hard you worked that business for the
I
decade long that we owned and operated the Center of Restorative Exercise. You did it wholeheartedly, unconditionally, served thousands in the community, and we ended up coming to a space where we needed to continue to grow and evolve, and I was on the verge of expanding my family, getting married to my wife, Caitlin Devine, and so we let go of Core, sold Core in 2019, and you're now a grandmother
I am.
to my sister's boys,
Mm-hmm.
James and Mason, my sister Ariel, and now my daughter Kayla May. And we are in a new phase of life, writing these books, sharing our history with purpose, pride, and I'd say immense passion, because this is what we do every day. We connect with people, we engage families, we tell story, and we're creating new story. So much so that we're going to take these books on the road this summer. And not just any road. Our new business is a nonprofit charity. It's called the Adversity into Adventure Foundation. And these books, a portion of the proceeds of these books benefit this nonprofit. My book included, and the next published work of mine, Painted Toes, will too as well. It's published by our other business called New Mind Publishing. It is a curator of compressed knowledge for personal transformation. It is our future, and it is closely aligned with our foundation, because ultimately, the greatest gift in the world is our time and our love, and all we can do with that is share it. And so, with our foundation and our organization, we're going to impact the world. I will be cycling again across the United States. Toots will be coming on and off to ride with us, my wife and daughter. We will be raising awareness and funds for our 3 ethos, which is rehabilitation, recreation, and neurological research. We aim to create opportunities for diverse abled individuals. So we're on a mission.
And I think the most powerful aspect of Adversity into Adventure's mission and statement is that these 3 ethos, you're not recreating another wheel. You are funding the top leaders in all 3 of those areas.
That's right.
So you're really doubling their work. And that is what makes me so excited about the future for Adversity into Adventure and the importance of it.
Well, and like I said earlier, my job as an individual is to be more than a storyteller. I am a story doer. Yes, I share my history, past tense, but I like to be present tense, today, here and now. I call it activating the 6 inches between your ears. I am like Johnny Appleseed. I plant mining seeds in the hearts and minds of those that need it most. And so that's essentially what our work comprises of today, and really what these books are meant to do. These are gifts, opportunities for others to join us, band together as a strong community again, to empower others to tell their stories, to write their book, to join us and lead others out of the dark and into the light. So, we're hell-bent. We leave on this tour June 10th, so it's coming up quick.
I know it is. I know it is. And at this moment, you're making me feel real lazy by sitting here. I want to get busy.
Well, it's time. It's time. This has been a lot of fun, and as we said,
So special.
we can do this for hours.
Yes, we can.
We do this. We have
Mhm.
amazing conversations daily. I love working with you, creating with you, sharing with you, and so now we're going to put it on the road, and we really hope to connect with you all. So thanks for
Absolutely.
listening and being a part of this today. Please follow along with this column, Off Road with Aaron Baker, in the AwareNow magazine. I feel very humbled and honored to be able to share you adults.
Oh, well, it's my privilege.
So with that, stay tuned.